Back in the building. Had a great week last weekend. This time last Sunday, I was driving towards Cave of the Mounds, and if you don't know what that is, I highly suggest you check it out. It's a huge open cavern discovered in the early, I think, 1900s, maybe 1930s, and it's just a huge cavern. It has lots of flow stone, a lot of stalactites, stalagmites. It really is just a fascinating wonder, and it's on the, I think, National Undisturbed Historic Registry. I might have all of those words wrong, and that's completely understandable because it was just a lot going on. But it's kind of like you can go on an unguided tour and you can learn a lot of stuff about the underground and how caves are formed. It's really fascinating and interesting. But thankfully I'm back. Thankfully I was able to pick out some good stones. And this week we're going to do kind of some colorless stone stuff because I like colored gemstones a lot, but colorless stones are really unique because they don't have a coloring agent mixed into them. So it's kind of like the purest that crystal's going to be. Interesting stuff. Something collectible about it, especially when you have things like sapphire that don't have color. That's not what people expect. So we're going to jump right into it and get going. The first stone that we have up here is a zeolite mineral or crystal. So, you know, a zeolite, they're pretty common when you see them. If you're out buying mineral specimens, zeolites are things that you kind of see in abundance. So to see one that's faceted, it's not like it's uncommon, but you just don't really have the transparency and clarity that why would you facet it. So this is polysite. I could be pronouncing that wrong, but that's how I'm going to pronounce it. That's what we're stuck with is Tom Joyce's phonetics today. So this is, again, zeolite. It's polysite from Pakistan. You can see some inclusions inside of it. It goes around. It doesn't have wonderful clarity. Now, this can come in colors ranging from pink, white, gray, violet, blue, all across. And you'll see that when you buy it in specimen form, that it comes in all those colors. Now, the first occurrence that has ever been seen of this came from Italy. And it's something that when someone finds things like this, it's like, when did they decide to facet it? It's always, you know, you kind of wonder those things, especially when you see it, you know, in the mineral form a lot. If you go to a lot of trade shows or just local gem and mineral shows, you'll see polysite. You will. Lots of zeolites. This is found commonly in occurrence with things like amblygonite, which I believe we showed on last week's show, which last week's show with the beryllinite and cinnaulite, magnesite, all of those things, I came back and looked at them and they're all gone out of inventory. So it seems like people were really excited to see the rare and not normally faceted. So Tom is going to file that up here in his thinker. And the next time he's out, he's going to bring back more weird and rare and stuff that you just don't normally see. Because I feel like there's collectors out there. Just like I'm a collector, there are collectors out there, and we need to fill that hole because there's a lot of stuff out there that isn't commonly seen that we can get in this building, and I know you guys want to see it. So on this polysite, so, and again, this is a Tom phonetic thing, I might be pronouncing it wrong. One of the main things in this is caesium, and caesium is a mineral. 82% of polysite and caesium, the reserves are all in Manitoba, Canada, which is kind of interesting because what the caesium is used for and is extracted for is it's used in an oil formate to aid in drilling assistance. So it's for oil drilling. So for it to be in Manitoba is really no surprise because out there in the prairies, you know, that's where you're going to have a lot of oil drilling. Alberta is a big area for oil drilling. So with the reserves being in Manitoba, it's not really surprising. When you look at Canada and all the stuff that's up there, which is really interesting, you have the amylites and ammonites, you have polysite, you have maple syrup reserves. It's kind of just a big deal. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on. I don't have any faceted maple syrup. Probably not going to get any. Doesn't mean I'm not going to look for it though. So this is a 2 carat millimeter varies rectangular cushion. Really nice stone. I'm going to get out my little tweezer grabber holder so you guys can see what it would look like if you wanted it in a stone. Because that's the other thing about these colorless stones, is whether you would think about it or not. And some of these are just collector stones, not something you would really get. Now this does have a 6.5 hardness. It is a little bit brittle, but that's not really a problem. But a lot of these, what you're looking at with these colorless stones, or what you call even white, is you're trying to simulate a diamond. Because diamonds, their pricing, it's up there. It is. It's a highly sought after stone, and it's something that everyone's looking for. But if you don't want to pay that big price tag, there is something like polysite, finikite, white sapphire, all in today's show. So they're things that are just cheaper alternatives than just going all out on that diamond. Now there is a place for every stone and every colorless stone. So there's always going to be a place in a market for diamonds. That's been proven over time. Even if it falls out of favor with the younger crowds, which I understand. Like, I'm not your daddy, okay? But there is a place for stones in all this. Moissanite is really popular right now as an engagement ring. But you can also look at things like polysite or white sapphire or finikite or even quartz. Like, there are things out there. There's a budget and a price point. Like, start out with what works for now, and you can always upgrade, because that's a good way to make every couple happy, is to keep upgrading jewelry. Nothing wrong with it. Once you can afford it, get something a little bit better. You'll always have those keepsakes. You always need to have things to pass down, but you can always have something super nice for right now. Which, I said quartz. I do have some faceted quartz here, but I also have this. These are just, I don't even know what else to say about a little quartz sphere. Sorry, I keep looking down. I'm trying to make sure everything is lined up the way it needs to be. I look better through that sphere than on camera. That is just the truth. But with these little quartz spheres, they're really wonderful, because there's a lot of things that you can do with quartz spheres and little round pieces of quartz that just are great in everyday life. What's that? That's actually what I was just getting ready to bring up. So one of the great things about gemology and things you do with it is optic figures. So an optic figure is something on a doubly refractive stone that just kind of pops up, and it tells you if it's uniaxial or biaxial. You can go to your favorite neighborhood search engine and read a little bit about uniaxial, biaxial. It's not as exciting if you're not into gemology on the everyday. But with quartz, sorry, I didn't bring a sphere stand. We have sphere stands that are bigger, so I'm just trying to lock this bad boy in so it doesn't roll, because it's round. So the great thing with quartz is, and especially on something that has a curved surface that is like a cabochon or a sphere like this. So on a lot of things, when you use a polariscope, there's a little crystal wand. It can be plastic sometimes, but generally crystal, that you hover over a faceted stone. Once you see the rainbow iridescent effect, you hover over it and the optic figure comes out in that crystal wand because it's curved. So on something like this, it's just going to pop right out. It's going to be on the surface of that stone. You don't need anything to aid it because it's already there. And you'll see what's called a bullseye, and it's usually a pink round bullseye right in the center of the stone. And it's great. It's one of those little tricks. But these are super clean. If anything, which we do have, there's 24 of these in stock. So you can see right there that it has almost just like a little fingerprint down on the bottom. That is the only thing in this piece that would be considered an inclusion. And it's right underneath the surface. So most of these come with the sphere stand. If they don't, find me at JTV_Tom Joyce on Instagram. I can get you a little sphere stand, because I brought a bunch of these back and I was trying to put them in there. So this is the bigger size. It's just a little lucite stand, but well, that kind of sits on there. But we have smaller ones that these sit on too. But you would put this down on the bottom, and then it would just be something that, the sphere is going to look extremely clean. Now you might have some of these. It doesn't say so on this one, but we even have some in stock that have like rutile in them. So like rutilated quartz, we have some rutilated quartz eggs. Just amazing stuff. And I'm kind of glancing over at my phone because today we have some stuff coming in. We have some ocean jasper spheres, some free forms coming. Shane's talking to me. Okay, so there were some eggs and spheres that Jay showed on his show recently. So if you go to jtv/extra, go to like previous shows and scroll back, and you can find shows from Jay and you can see those because they were amazing. We brought all the eggs and spheres in around Easter and sold them, and we had a blue topaz egg that sold over 2,000 carats on that one. Super rare, museum quality. I've only seen one in my life. I've never seen another one. I don't think I'll ever see another one. Right now in our imaging department, we have a citrine egg that's in there. There's a cat's eye kunzite egg. I like eggs and spheres because they're just not common anymore. You'll see them in opaque stones, but to see them in clarity stones that are really clean crystal, it's just not as common anymore. You will see rutilated versions. Now, the one thing that I find so interesting about this, it would be interesting for someone, like, do a little research and digging on your own about the 12 crystal skulls that they've found in South America. Now, these are years old finds, but crystal is one of the things that, crystal quartz is something they're looking at that could aid in record keeping and digital storage. Now, that is a bigger conversation that I can't really get into myself because I don't know all the details. I just know that it's always been something that's been talked about, that they even look at these crystal skulls that they were kind of randomly scattered around, and they don't fully know, is there records kept on that? Is there data on these skulls? Is that why they were so highly revered? Uh-oh, I got talking to my ear. What's that, Shane? I have no idea. Okay. Shane's getting all sciencey in my ear. It's good point. So he's basically saying that without the oxygen, that silicon is what you're left with in quartz, and that's what computer chips are made out of. So there you go. That might be part of it. Now, when you look at those crystal skulls, I don't really think there's probably anything stored on all of them because they have a lot of inclusions in them. So it's not a stable thing. When you see those inclusions, like when you have the vibrations go through, which is normally what would happen to get data stored onto something, it's going to crack and break. So just something to think about, though, when you see these really, really clean quartz pieces. And quartz generally is an extremely clean stone. You'll see some little, you know, we call them fingerprints, tiger striping when it's in, or zebra striping when it's in amethyst, but it's just something that it's generally pretty clean. Now this next stuff, really cool things, and a lot of times outside of mineral specimens, we don't generally say like a locale of the mine because it's hard to say. Now on these three pieces we do. So this is from the Mcgurl pocket. So I'm going to let this spin for a second and wet my whistle because there's something to say about these that's interesting. So the Mcgurl pocket is in Arkansas. So this mine opened in 1940, closed in 1943, and then it sporadically opened and closed, opened and closed, opened and closed. 1982, they hit a pocket, a big pocket, and that's the Mcgurl pocket. That's where these came from. So the Mcgurl pocket produced really, really fine, super clean crystals, some of them up to 3 feet long, and they just had amazing luster on them. So a lot of those, everybody knows that when you have super, super clean, really long crystals, you keep it as the crystal. You can sell it for a lot more money, especially American, one locale that you can say where it's from. You wouldn't do that. Well, thankfully, some of this stuff got faceted. Now, this shape is called what my nickname was in high school, and it was Pudgy Pear. Now, this pocket produced great, great material. And, 1987, they found another pocket that produced a lot of really good material. And then the last pocket that they hit was right on the boundary line of this mine, and it was gone. After that, no mining has been done since because, you kind of have a 40-acre mine that is allotted to you. And once you hit your boundaries, you're done because you can't really, even though you're underground, you can't keep going because once you go on to someone else, like, how do you go over real excited and try to buy their property? Because immediately they're going to be like, they dug under my property and found something. That's why they want to buy my mineral rights. And, in the South, mineral rights are a big deal, a really, really big deal. But this Mcgurl pocket, you can see just on these as they spin, they're very clean. Now, you can see a lot of rock crystal quartz out there, faceted Herkimers and, Pakistani quartz. You can find all kinds of clean stuff. But when you know where it came from, the state that it came from, the mine that it came from, and the pocket that it came from, it kind of puts it on another level where it exceeds what other quartzes would go for. It's a conversation I've had recently that there's kind of like a baseline standard for all material on what value is. And that will change a little bit by where it came from, what pocket it came from, what provenance you can associate with it. But, there's still baseline material. So this is one of them that you can associate a lot of provenance for it. But to get 3 stones that are 10 by 10s for $40 is pretty exceptional. And to know that it came from the Mcgurl pocket, it's got a name behind it and some value, and it looks really good, especially set in a ring, which we're going to fake and say. And again, all of these stones are to simulate a diamond, to save you the money. Now, diamond, of course, is going to have a lot more brilliance. It's an over-the-limit stone. The refractive index on quartz is 1.54, right around that area. So it's not going to have that bright luster and shine. Well, luster is different. You're going to have a vitreous luster compared to the adamantine of diamond. But these are really beautiful stones, really clean stones. That is the big deal with all of that. Quartz, ain't it cool? And it's so abundant. There's quartz everywhere. I went rockhounding this past weekend. I was showing off my my honey pocket to Shane that I found. We kind of went to southern Illinois, and there's an area, it's pretty well known, called Cave and Rock. Some really good mineral specimens come from Cave and Rock, and unfortunately, all these mines are closed now. So we go to a gravel parking lot near one of the old mines, open the car door and look out, and I'm standing on fluorite and calcite. And I kind of gasped, and my wife on the other side of the car said, "Are you already finding stuff?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Yeah, so am I." So we came back at the end of the show. I'll show you what it was, just some of what we found. And it's open. You can just walk around and pick it up. And I was out there with my UV light, shining, looking to see what fluoresces and picking it all up. But unfortunately, with these mines closing, you get what you get. Now, I love everything that I got because I'm a collector, I'm a rock hounder. I like all rocks and minerals and stones. There's no bad ones in my opinion. Treatments, inclusions, whatever it is, I love all of them. But we got some cave and rock material that we're going to have available and do a show here in a couple of weeks, but jump on it because once you see what the only thing that you can get out of that material is, you'll want to get on them immediately. So the stone that I have in front of me, another rectangular cushion. Well, actually not even a cushion. No, this is a cushion. Sorry, I was looking at the next stone. I feel like I'm maybe missing one. I am. I'm missing something out of order. Go ahead and show this one, Shane. I'm going to check real quick. This is not a cushion. Yep, there it is. Well, I found the one that was missing, so we're good to go. We're on 1.5. I just found 1.4. I'll do that one next. Okay. Yeah, so what we're looking at here is a radiant cut. So a radiant cut is basically, you can see it when it comes. I'm going to stop the turntable and we'll get that kind of glare out of the way for it. But what it is with a radiant cut is it's almost like a princess, but it's in a rectangular form. You're seeing like scissors that are coming down the back of the culet. And those scissors are just adding more refraction on the back. I'll show it in my tweezers so you can see what I mean by those scissors. So you can see the reflection coming off all those facets on the back. So that's what's making it a radiant cut, because when you look at it face up, it really is just looking like a normal emerald cut stone. But it's that faceting on the back that's causing more light to come back and really reflect. So what this is finikite. And I know last week I was busting on all these stones, making fun of, how they got their names and how unoriginal it is. Well, I am proud to report we actually have an original name here. I really like how they came up with it. So it's finikite. It came from the Greek word phoenix, which means deceiver. So when you look at this stone and you're like, well, deceiver, why would they call it deceiver? It's because when they first found this, and in the rough form, it looks just like quartz. So when they saw it, they were thinking they were getting quartz. Well, as technology advanced and as gemology advanced and chemistry and, looking at compounds, they figured out, no, this is not quartz. So that's how they came up with finikite. So finally, for once, we have a cool name. I like it, personally. So finikite, colorless, no coloring agent. Now, this is a big stone in the metaphysical world as well. As long as it's super clean on the inside, metaphysical, they eat these stones up. So sometimes that's what you're competing with. If you're a collector, great. Collect, you want to get all the types of stones that you can. Colorless stones, sometimes people want to have a reference of all colored stones, colorless stones, the color range in a certain variety of stone. There's all kinds of reasons to collect, depending on what kind of collector you are. So with finikite, you might want to say, well, I want a collection of diamond simulants, right? So you can get CZ, moissanite, a synthetic diamond, finikite, white sapphire, quartz, all kinds of things that could be used to simulate a diamond, because you might be a big fan of diamonds, have a diamond and say, okay, pick out which one's the diamond. It's fun to do sometimes. There's no telling. It's a loose gemstone. The world is open to you. You don't have to do whatever a jewelry designer said to do with your stone. You make the decisions. That's what we're here for. You make the decisions. I'm the vessel. That's all. I'm just here to present to you. You can make whatever decision you want. No judgment from Tom Joyce. So with finikite, you will kind of be competing with metaphysical people because they really want this stone. And with metaphysical as well, you can even see it with moldavite. Metaphysical can change the entire landscape of a price range on a stone. Moldavite, you used to be able to find at trade shows for $2 to $3 a gram. Now, in a retail setting, I've seen it for $85 a gram. And as a gemologist and as a rock collector and, a rock hounder myself, I clutched my pearls and said, I'm coming for you when I saw $85 a gram. And I had to ask because of what I do for a living. I said, are you selling a lot of that? And they said they were selling a lot of it. And it's just something where I'm not going to pay $85 a gram retail for moldavite. Someone will. And that's what's driving everything. Is if they can sell it, it sustains the price. But always look for a deal. That's the best advice I can give you from Tom Joyce. Always look for a deal. Because sometimes, even if it seems too good to be true and you know that it might be, if you can afford it, buy it, because you want to stay on the up and up of what is out there to try and fool people, especially from a gemology standpoint. You need to know what tricks people are trying. So with finikite, you don't have to worry about the finikite. You don't have to worry about stuff you buy from Tom Joyce because we look at all of it. I'm a graduate gemologist. We have multiple in the building. We have a testing lab that you wouldn't even believe in this building. Maybe one of these days, Shane and I will pop over there and just do a quick little run through, get a quick interview with Caleb. He can explain what he does every day. You can look at our Gemo Ramen, our Zan 250, everything, because we have access to these things. And we verify what we say we're selling to you because it's very important to us that you can trust what you're getting at a great price. It's just what we do. We're nice people like that. Most of us are nice people like that. 85%. 72% of us are nice people like that. Shane just popped in and said 63. We're going to say half the people are nice people like that. And we're going to go with that. We're going to stick with it. And that's a lowball number. I know it's higher than that. I've been here 22, 23 years. I wouldn't be here if there weren't nice people in this building to deal with and trustworthy people. I just wouldn't be. It's not worth it. It's not worth your life to be unhappy. See, free advice from Tom Joyce. It just keeps coming. So this next one's a little bit smaller. It's a cushion cut. It's a 6 by 4.7 millimeter. Now, when I told you to go to jtv.com/extra and go back and watch previous shows, this is a good one to go back and watch a J show on. Not this piece particular, but the material, because it's something where Jay is very well versed in what this material is. Now, this is colorless sapphire, or white sapphire. White is a color as well. So on something like this, this is another one that is driven very, very, very strongly in the metaphysical world. And that's why I would say, talk to Jay Boyle about this one, because Jay knows a lot about metaphysical. We tend to not talk about it as much with streaming shows and like when we present stuff, because, with gemology, we can give an opinion, right? I can give an opinion on what I think about a stone, how it looks, how it would look next to other stones. But it's science-based. It's facts that you can verify. That's what gemology is all based around, is I can get this refractive index. Light bends this way. I can get this kind of heft. There's a science-based formula to come up with specific gravity, refraction, positive or negative with uniaxial, biaxial. There's all kinds of things that are science-based. When it comes to metaphysical type things, it's a generalization of an opinion. Like, no one can say whether it cleanses the room. We can go back to moldavite. Everybody talks about feeling, a vibration when they hold moldavite. Tom Joyce, personal opinion, just me, I've never once felt a vibration. But there are many reasons that people could say why I haven't. We can't really get into that. I can tell you that with the bubbles inside of it and the lines that go through it and the texture on the outside, with confidence that it is moldavite. Guaranteed. I can tell right when I look at it. When something seems off, we go to the lab. So I can't get into metaphysical talking points. Other people can. They'd be more than happy to talk to you about it. But it always needs to come with, it can't be backed up scientifically, which is very important to state. White sapphire is one, though, that definitely people really, really look for, because it's a clean stone, it's a cleansing stone. They want it to have very few inclusions, very few fingerprints, no crystals, and it pairs well to other stones. So when it's combined with another stone, that's when you really get the quote-unquote powerful stuff that you'll see. Now, I turned it over on its side because I wanted you to see, what's that, Shane? That'd be my guess based on the price. It doesn't have a carat weight listed that I can see. I can look it up real quick just to see. We'll let this spin. So what we're looking at here, I just wanted to show the culet, because on a lot of stones, especially like in cushions and that have this, that you want to show off that dispersion, you'll generally see like kite shapes, like almost a brilliant shaped base. But on this one, you kind of have the blocky facets that are down on the bottom. And it's still good because it allows light to bounce around. But it's something that I really just wanted to show off the base. I'll always say a lot now, this is a colorless stone. But on a lot of colored gemstones and stones like this, you've heard me say it before, that all of the secrets are hidden on the bottom of a stone. Sorry, I heard noises in the back. I'm also looking the stone up. So this is just under a carat. It's 97 points, so 0.97. It is from Thailand, and this actually is a heated stone. So Sorry, this was cut in Thailand. The stone is actually from Sri Lanka. A lot of colorless or white sapphire that you'll see does come from Sri Lanka. It's just kind of that area. Sri Lanka, a lot like Madagascar, is a hotbed for gemstones. They're all over these areas. You know, once you get these tiny little islands and like Micronesia type places, when you have just tons of scattershot islands, they all used to be together at one point. So as they broke apart and spread apart, pockets are going to different places. So it's not uncommon to see the same material found kind of, you can kind of trace it in a belt as it goes, because as they drifted apart, that's where you see it. I've heard there's diamonds on the bottom of the ocean. That's what we need to check out on. Preston and I talked about that. We're gonna go out there someday and hop on that vacuum boat that's going around. So this is the last one that we have. This is the 3.01 carat. I'm not putting it up on its side yet. I just want to see. I want everybody to see it as it spins around, because you can see it looks odd. It's a carving, right? What is the carving? Now this is Montana sapphire, and I love this piece so much. We had a few of these that are like this, but it's something that, so sapphire, when you see the crystal shapes of sapphire, it's almost like a bindle. The old hobo cartoons where they have the sack on the stick and they're carrying it. It's usually bindle shaped. But you'll also have some flat tabular crystals, which is generally what you'll see out of Montana, is flat tabular. That's why the biggest Montana sapphires you'll see, I mean, usually are under 10 carats. So this is a Buddha carving in a Montana sapphire crystal. Now, the carving's done in Sri Lanka, and this is a heated sapphire. So, sorry, I am really bad about keeping it in one place. I'm just gonna lock it down, Shane. You do what you gotta do. I'm going to shut off the turntable. So, you know, heating a stone is never bad, especially like a sapphire. You're just trying to clean out some of the silk and fingerprints that are in it to get the clarity better and to make it just a more attractive stone for selling. And this is a decent sized stone. This would make a great pendant. Shane was even talking about how, you know, if he had his druthers, he would get this bezel set and make a pendant out of it. Don't disagree at all. This would be a great pendant. It's got great size. But there's a lot of different things that you could do, even a bezel set ring. Now, you can see how it is a free form. It doesn't have a uniform shape to it, so it's not like you can look at it and say, oh, well, that's a round, or it's off round, it's a cushion. It's not, it's free form. I would almost call it just a lozenge. So whatever you're gonna do, if you're gonna get something made out of it, it's gonna be a custom piece of jewelry. Because as you can see, it doesn't even have a girdle. It just has a thin edge that kind of goes around the stone. So what's going to have to happen is you're going to get like a little thin piece of gold that just goes around and forms all the way around the edge of that stone. And then once you do that, you just affix a little bail to the top, or, you know, you get it mounted onto a ring. There's a lot of different things you can do. But Montana sapphires, it's one of those things that it really is like a treasure of the US when it comes to loose gems. Because you can have tourmaline from Maine and, you know, Herkimers from New York, all kinds of stuff from Arizona, but Montana sapphire really is just, it really is a treasure of the US. And what's cool about these are, like, you have Rock Creek, Yogo Gulch. You have a lot of different mine locations, Gem Mountain. But what's cool is for a lot of these, they're either alluvial deposits or secondary deposits. So alluvial just means it kind of rolled down a hill and it's found in water. So it's a water-worn crystal, which is kind of good because it does the shaping for you, and then you can just polish around it. So they have flooding off of these rivers. So when you have alluvial deposits already, you know, and then it floods inland, they started going down and taking core samples out of some of these areas to see, okay, well, what sapphires went in there and then settled in the sedimentary deposits as that water, you know, recessed. So they started finding stuff, and then once they do that, then they go and start mining down there. So it's almost like an alluvial secondary mine location. It's really crazy. One of my goals, so I did some mining or some rockhounding this year. I'm gonna do some rockhounding later this year when I go out to California. Someday soon, going to Montana, and I'm gonna have a lot of fun. And I'm gonna get my own piece of sapphire. I'll probably buy the, pre-seeded buckets. I want to have a successful trip. But then hopefully I'll be able to get something faceted myself. I'm not even gonna let them heat it, just facet it. I want an unheated faceted, even if it's the ugliest sapphire in the world. I want an unheated Montana sapphire that I found myself in a bucket that they made sure to put in that bucket for me, and then I picked through it and found it. You gotta cheat a little bit sometimes. Thanks so much for watching. Gonna have a great show tomorrow, I can promise it. And then watch in the future. Oh, wait, we're not gonna go away yet. I'm gonna show you the stuff that I found in Illinois. I apologize, Shane. I didn't mean to do that to you. So this was really great. Southern Illinois, known for some really famous, fluorite mines. It's Hardin County, Illinois. You have Cave and Rock fluorite. You can know the Minerva mine, which is one of the really popular. Minerva was the one that I was outside of. So I'm just going to pile this up on here, and I will even turn on the turntable so you can see it spin around. And I actually dropped one, so I'm going to look. So on this, you can see there's fluorite, calcite, and even sphalerite on this turntable. And all of this is just sitting in a parking lot waiting to be found right when I walked out. So one of the gemologists and FGAs that works here, very, very educated and informed man, looked at one piece on this, well, it's on the turntable now. He had it in his office, and it was this piece right here. And he was just saying this was his favorite piece and that it was just exceptional. And it really is, because when you look at it, it's got a good crystal face on it. It's not really playing nicely in the tweezers. But it just, when you go and look for stuff on your own, it really is the best and most fun that you can have in the gem and mineral world, because, it's something you're passionate about. You plan vacations around it. So me and my wife plan our vacations around three things: concerts, disc golf, rockhounding. Those are the three things that we do. Concerts are for both of us, disc golf's for me, rockhounding's for her, and I have fun as well. But I was out here with my nice little UV light in the middle of the day, so thankfully I have a powerful UV light, and you just kind of shine it, and once you see things glowing, that's what you know to pick up. And it's a piece like this that you can see that bright yellow that jumps out of it. That's kind of a typical thing that you'll see out of Illinois fluorite, is that little yellow inside of it that just keeps jumping out. So all I know is I'm a collector. I want you to be a collector. If you're a collector, I'm going to keep bringing out great things for you to see that you're going to want in your collection. There's all kinds of mineral specimens that are getting ready to come up on our website. And I'm going to give everybody a first look before they're able to go to anybody else. Follow me on JTV_Tom Joyce on Instagram. You'll see everything that I'm working up before it comes up. Same on Facebook. Get a sneak peek of all this stuff so you can jump out and get your collection started the right way from a collector himself. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.